So our project is mostly about the legacy of protests that do.
Okay.
Kind of the topic of the second panel about how here, like as students here, this is something that's celebrated and they have an exhibit on it, and it must be very strange to watch it go from something that was very controversial to something that's like honored.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you navigate that?
I don't have to navigate. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's pleasant to see that when you're on, say, for example, the far left, and you don't know how people are going to respond, and everybody's against you, and everybody says this is not the way to resolve something, and you decide to take action, but that action is considered radical and outside of the norm, and you don't know what the consequences are going to be. And you decide that I'm on a mission, I feel like I'm on a righteous path, and so I'm willing to do, as Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. I'm willing to do, I'm fantastic. I'm willing to do anything that I can to make it go right. And it's not just, if you speak about legacy, it's not just for us, but it's for everybody. And today we talk mostly about the academic institution, but what was happening at the hospital, what was happening with the workers, just the regular workers that do, and what was happening with labor, all of that kind of coalesced, it's like they galvanized into one almost singular focus. And to have it recognized now is appreciated, and the university deserves credit. So I think that's part of what Howard was talking about, is that you live in this dichotomy. You have to change stuff, be part of the change, and then when you affect the change, you have to bring people along, but the system won't change unless the system is willing to. And so you're still, pushing people to make a change, and then you become part of the change. He touched home for me. I became Polaroid's first black corporate officer, and sometimes I just wanted to be an officer and focus on the bottom line, but I called it the black tax, but in a positive way. But it was for women as well at the time, and other people of color, is that you have to do a certain standard in doing the functional part of a job, but at the same time, you have to provide access, because you're an outlet for people that say, oh, he's in the inner circle now. And I remember my first 3 months, I had over 100 people calling and saying, hey, my supervisor did X. They didn't treat me right here. And if you don't respond, oh, you made it. You like that now, huh? It was an unbelievable amount of pressure until I had the structure around it so that I could provide that opportunity, but still do the functional part of the job and still be an agent of change. So that's what the legacy of, say, an Allen building was. And there's a lot of stuff we still didn't get a chance to say today in terms of how everything came together. And even within the group that came in, there was a radical faction. And there was a faction that, thank God, was a whole lot more sensible. Yeah.
It's kind of hard for us to kind of even think about.
Do you mind if I gather some of this sound? These young women are probably doing a fabulous job of drawing you out. Do you mind if I just gather the sound? I don't want to Bigfoot your interview.
Oh, yeah, it's fine with me.
Yeah, cool. So as students, it's hard for me to countenance like entering the Allen building and putting my body at personal risk, much less everything that you were talking about that followed you, right? An opportunity to enter this corporate job, to be in that role, to help in that way. How did you think about the sacrifice that you were making at that time, and understanding like what was the next year of your life like after that?
Well, two things. What did I think about going in? Honestly, I didn't know if we were coming out. I had Chuck mentioned, like I said, Chuck, Steph, there was a group that intellectually had a nice structure, but there was a group of us that this was the revolution. And it was like the revolution's not going to be televised. This was it. And so we had a total commitment. And it changed during the course of the day. And as it got darker, the consequences physically got more serious, or the threat of the consequences got more serious. And there was a contingent that was absolutely committed to, we should not leave the building. There was not a desire to do anything violent, but I'm not going to let somebody beat on me. I mean, that was sort of the attitude, is that this group was not Martin Luther King turned the other cheek. It also wasn't, let me be aggressive and proactive, but it was, if something happens, I'm going to defend myself. And some of it was naive, foolhardy, and funny. So we didn't get a chance to really cover, but the Tarrington cigarettes, the lemon under the eyes, and I remember back then people used to smoke a lot, so they had these trash cans, black trash cans with the silver top. So I remember we took the silver top off and put it on. There was 2 or 3 women that stayed. They were not leaving either. And we put it on top of their heads. So if you ever looked at it, we had filters coming out our nose, lemon in your eye, crying, and a silver ashtray on the top. And we were ready to fight the man, and thinking that that's going to work. But again, part of what I learned is, at the time, people probably won't talk about this, but Duke is a funny kind of dichotomy in Durham at that time, because Duke had a number of people from New York and New Jersey. And Durham is Baptist, and you had New York, New Jersey Jewish folks. And there was a little tension around that. So there was some resentment around the school, even though it was the biggest employer around. And so that is put in the context of the state police, highway patrol, whatever, coming in. They were coming in, it was, hey, we got an excuse to take them out now, or to do we have a legit reason to do some bodily harm. So we knew that was coming. When we finally came out, there was a number of us that were there till the very end, when they were tear gassing and coming through literally as we were walking out. But there was also people out front. And the Caucasian students, if they had not linked arms to protect us, we might be here, but I don't know if all our limbs would be working the same way. And frankly, they took the brunt of the physical abuse from us being in the building. And they definitely protected the few that came out at the very end. I mean, they literally covered us up. And and it's funny, after that, I guess when they talk about traumatic things happening to you, after a while, it's just a blur. I do not remember that night. Like, the other students remember looking at us from Canterbury and from the Afro-Am Society building. I remember walking down and one of the young ladies getting bumped by a police car, and then we went berserk. But then when the state troopers came, we all ran. I don't remember what happened after that. So I don't know if I answered all of the questions.
Can you walk us through the trial, what that was like preparing for it during it? Do you remember that more?
Actually, I don't. Okay. I forgot. When they talk about it, I completely forgot about the trial until they said it.
That's so funny.
Completely. I was on action. I wanted to do something. The trial was, I was prepared to leave school. I just thought we were done. And then the other students said, I call it a Spartacus moment. I Am Spartacus. Did y'all see that movie? Well, Spartacus was a Roman, back in that time. And when they were trying to find him, everybody said, I'm Spartacus. So what happened was students that didn't go in and the students that went in, everybody said, I was in the building. That put the school administration in a situation where we're going to kick everybody out? Because they signed affidavits saying that we were in the building. They had the names of about 20 of us, and the rest of the black students all signed and said we were in there as well. So I do remember that Beckton and them saying that that was a strategy, but to me, we're getting expelled, so I'm like, okay. I mean, I knew what the consequences were, whether it was going to be physical or something like that, so it was the consequences, and if you were willing to go in with that threat, I'm not mad at the university for that. I realized what we did, so I didn't think about the trial. I remember it after they said it. I remember it was like like when you go into a class that comes up like that. You know, I remember the wood. It was light wood like this, but what was said except they said that we broke the school behavior policy.
Right.
And it was like, yeah,
That
you're
makes
right.
sense, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
What are you most proud of?
Talking to you guys.
Well, it's flattering.
I'll tell you the one thing that I like is the way that we stuck together, and I'm proud of being from Duke. I was on the board of advisors for Trinity, and I remember what I would always tell them at the meetings is I didn't always enjoy being at Duke, but I've always been proud of being from Duke. Duke opened so many doors. But I would say that was my ex-wife, even though we're like brother and sister. I was really proud that at that time she graduated on time after we had a son. So I was a teenager and we got out and son went to Yale, but he'll be here tomorrow, super successful. And the fact that a number of us had kids at Duke and everybody still graduated on time. I'm pretty proud of that. And I'm also thankful to the institution. Just like Howard was saying that we made progress, there's still more progress to be made. And if we accept the fact that there's institutional discrimination, whether it's gender, culture, or age, and that there's no there. You just got this, you get 2 steps and you keep getting 2 steps. You don't have to go 1 step back, you just keep making incremental progress. So happy about that. But the fact that you guys are here, so
Yeah, we're so happy that we get to cover this. We're really lucky.
one thing, it put me in a position where like I had the thing, I was president of Polaroid Asia Pacific for Polaroid, and I lived over in Hong Kong for 4.5, 5 years. Just super experience. Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Taiwan, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. Just great, and it's from the education here and then grad school.
Do you mind if I ask what else you'll do while you're in Durham?
Man, just look at the people I haven't seen since 71 or 72 and the ones I haven't seen since 90. So I don't need to go any place. I can just stand and look at people and I'm happy.
It has been phenomenal just to watch you light up with joy as you see people behind us.
It's amazing. Some of the folks on here, because I've been back quite a few times, because when Brenda was sick, Dr. Armstrong, I came like every 3 weeks. And like one of her sons came out and I was supposed to straighten him up, and so he stayed with me one summer. So the relationships that we formed, like Fred's, one other guy, Janice's daughter, oldest daughter, she stayed at my house for her and Janice and Gwen and somebody else. They stayed at my house for 4 months while I was over in Hong Kong. I got her a job at Polaroid. I hadn't talked to Janice and Fred in 4 or 5 years, and 30-second phone calls. Hey, by you, we need a job. Okay.
Sounds good, yeah.
So it's a different type of fraternity, sorority, bond that you just can't break what we have.
Is there anyone else that we should harass while we're here today?
Who have you talked to so far?
Not many people.
Catherine for sure. I think Mike is leaving. Try to talk to Von Gapion. I'm trying to get some other people. Clarence Morgan. Because Clarence's experience has to be kind of unique because the only reason you know Clarence is black is when he opens his mouth. And matter of fact, that's what we call it, Mouth Morgan.
Oh my gosh.
But it's the class of 71 was a bit radical. And the other was a more thoughtful. And that's exactly what, how all of that coalesced is probably exactly what we needed. So.
Well, Michael, thank you.
I'm trying to think, of, talking to, Janice was up there already, so.
Does Janice live in Durham?
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to her about her social work.
Yeah.
So we might harass her. I don't know
Okay.
that, but
All right,
thank you so much.
All right.